needs to be quite, you can't always hit driver, especially with the wind. And then you do have, you can call it a burn that actually hugs the right side of the hole. So the best thing to do is to hit a 3-iron or even a hybrid off the tee, whatever gets you to that 200 meters to the front of the green. And then some people would actually ask for you not to go for the pin with the 200-meter shot maybe riding the wind, because the wind can knock down the ball, but they would suggest maybe a target that's 20 to 30 meters short of the green, but you carry the burn. So there you're bringing a shot that 165 meters with the wind versus a 220-meter shot with the wind are very, very different outcomes. You have to hit something very well if you're going to get the ball to stop if it carries the green. And a lot of those things were running through my mind because I've hit 3-iron and I'm actually about 220, 215 meters out. And then I don't know why I swung at the plane that I did, but I felt that I went over the top with my plane and actually hit it that badly that it didn't even reach the burn, but yet I was just that 25 meters out to the pin rather than the front of the green. So I actually had quite a difficult up and down scenario where I had to choke down on the club. The ball almost went into the burn, but it's sitting on the lip, and I knew if I can just get this ball to the greater part of the green, I had a birdie opportunity. And I actually hit a really good birdie putt. I gave myself about 15 to 20 foot and it left it in the throat. Going to happen with the holotining, but I'm really very, very happy with my setup when I'm coming into these putts that need the speed and they need the pace control. So a par is not that bad if you consider the fact that I hit, probably a poor shot in that sequence. And I'm going on to the par 3 where the number is about 146 meters to the pin, and you have now the wind coming off your left shoulder. And I would never hit an 8-iron in this instance, because being below the hole is always a recommendation with these type of greens. And I hit a 9-iron, which started left of the flag, but there is quite a raised, elevated component to this green, and I hit just short and it didn't release. So I had an up and down just to take a par on the next par 3. So I'm now 3 over after 6, and I'm looking for a good tee shot on the par 5, which has an out of bounds with the road that goes through the race course with underground bridge. So you've got that to worry about on the right of this. It used to be a par 4, but they've made it a par 5. It is going to go into the wind, so you want to hit driver rather than 3-wood, because if you hit this driver into the fairway, which is quite narrow, we're talking about maybe 35, 40 meters in amongst high palms on the right, and then there's a lot of indigenous bush on the left. So if you block your tee shot, you could be out of bounds. If you hit something with a cut, you could be in the palms, and if you hit a horrible if you don't complete your backswing with transition and you miss left, you could be in trouble with the indigenous bush. So I had about 148 meters to the front, so I couldn't have asked for a better tee shot. But now I'm thinking, is this a 2-club or a 3-club win? Because it doesn't feel as bad as I started the round. I'm into my 7th hole. I haven't got a birdie yet, and I'm thinking, if I pull this shot off, it's birdie in the bag. And I go from a 6-iron, which is 148 to the front, and then the pin was about 9 to 10 on. So it's very ridiculous that you would be hitting that type of club for that type of distance, but it was a 3-club wind, and I actually went with an additional club, the 5-iron, just to take the front bunkers out of play. And that seemed to be the right move. I missed the target left, and I had a very simple up and down chip with my sand wedge to take the first birdie of the day. So now I've at least reduced some of the damage. I'm now +2 after 7 holes, and you are coming back to the let's call it the halfway house and the club, the clubhouse, because you've got two holes that are now having the out of bounds on the right of the racetrack, and there's no real problems off the tee. With this 8th hole, you have a tuck pin that's quite far back on a green that's elevated, and it's almost like a pot bunker, so you actually find that it's a really tough pin to go for. But that was in my mind going through the hole. I didn't want to hit driver, I actually wanted to hit 3-wood so that I could take the bunker out of play. Couldn't have asked for a better tee shot, so 3-wood is now giving me an opportunity to hit either a gap wedge or maybe a pitching wedge would be the right play, because the wind is helping. The pin is right back, like 21 meters on, and now I'm in a position where I'm about 96 meters to the front. So that 3-wood, didn't have to hit it that hard, just had to find the fairway, and that was job done. I then proceed to hit a gap wedge just because I don't want to be long, and I take the bunker out of play because I'm going to be hitting a fade off the bunker. I do this, and I've actually left the ball way below the hole, and I've actually got a chip over a shoulder of fringe because there's no way I can putt and get it even near the hole. So I do this, and I just realized to myself that this practice that I've put in with the chipping has really changed my whole feeling and confidence about the ball control, because there is a drill out there where chipping on a green or chipping on a really manicured surface is a benefit, because you shouldn't be chipping with the ground condition. You should be chipping with the ball. And that's exactly what I did, and let's just call it a 2-putt. So I found the fairway, I found the green, but I actually did end up chipping off the green because it was about 45 foot that I felt that I had to chip, because it was uphill, and if I got the ball a little bit past the hole, then I would make the par coming back, and that's exactly what happened. The 9th hole, it's always a 3-wood or a hybrid. I went for the 3-wood because I felt that I've probably hit my 3-woods pretty decent today, and I'm setting myself up to reduce the damage that was done with the double bogey. And it's quite a short hole, it's about 235 meters to the front, and I hit a 3-wood that didn't have to be hit. It was almost a fade, not a high fade, but I almost hit a low fade just to get a bit of a release, and I did. I got a release just to the front of the green, so now I've got an opportunity to 2-putt, and I ended up just taking the 9-iron and doing the clipping technique, and I put the ball almost in the hole, just missed the cup left, and I take the birdie with a tap-in putt. So I'm 1 over after 9, and I go straight to the 10th, no halfway break. I want to see whether the decision making and the complacency doesn't, because I've now worked really hard on 7 and 9 to go birdie, and it's feeling good now, and I've got to hit a driver into this wind because it's picked up again, or it's always been up, and I can't tell the difference maybe in some of the areas of the course where you are a bit sheltered. So hitting the driver off the tee was not bad. It did start a little bit right of the target, but it did find itself 230 meters to the front, but I did have a little bit of a bush that was quite close to the ball. I knew that the swing of the 3-wood could still follow through. There won't be any damage to the bush. There won't be damage to my club. I just said, well, if you hit the 3-wood semi-decent, I could be taking a bunker out of play, which sort of is around 65, 70 meters to the front, because I knew even if I hit a bad 3-wood here, I'm going to have 100 or even 95 meters in. So that's what happened. I did hit it a bit fat. It didn't go that far, but at least it got to a point where I'm asking myself whether a 9-iron or a wedge into the wind is going to be, for a birdie. And I took the 9-iron, and I must have had obviously some bad rhythm, because I would set up for hitting it probably just right of the target, and I actually ended up well left. So that means getting a bit quick. I need to just reassess and refocus on my mantra and my rhythm. And for these things to be happening during the round is a good thing. I mean, at the end of the day, the wind is there to help, and I'm pin high, and I can't complain if that's the case. And up and down, obviously, one of those shots that I didn't pull off earlier, it was the same type of entanglement with the medium rough. So an opportunity to get up and down, which I did on the fourth hole. That one, you would say maybe it was a little bit further than this scenario, but I had to go for a flop shot with the sand wedge, because at the end of the day, you're looking for a place you want the ball to land, and on both scenarios you feel that it's going to release or roll out. So the flop shot makes sense if I'm trying to recover. But if you hit a duff and you've left it short, then you really feel bad, and then the chip or the pitch could have been a better option just to roll past the hole. I go to the 11th. It's a drivable par 4. I mean, today with the wind, it's a 3-wood or a hybrid that could do the job. I decide to hit sort of the 3-wood that I did on the 9th and hope that I can just leave it in the throat of the green, because there's bunkers all around the green, and it's obviously a very narrow green. It runs back to front, and if you put yourself in a tough position, and that's exactly what I did, I had to now really scramble to make a 4. So I'm pretty much not greenside, but I've got tree trouble around the green. So I'm in the vicinity of the green with the 3-wood, but unfortunately I've got to take the bunker out of play. So I hit a 9-iron to the bank, and it checks up on the bank. And now I'm looking to up and down, and I didn't hit a good chip. I've hit the chip, and it's actually probably I didn't pay attention to the grain, didn't maybe take my time, didn't stay with it. So now I've got a bogey. So I feel like I'm back to 2 over after 11 holes, and I want to concentrate on not hitting a bad shot and then following it up with a stupid shot. So I have 159 meters for the next shot. I refer to the pin sheet again, and I focus on the length of the green. I ended up telling myself 183 and 184 meters into this 3-club wind that's the number that you should look for, and I decided to go with a 5-iron, and I hit this 5-iron so well from staying in the moment perspective rather than trying to muscle it. And I gave myself a good opportunity to make birdie, just missed the cup left, and that was probably the best 5-iron of the day. It wasn't a huge wind-up. It was almost as if I managed to just deliver the club face from the setup back and forth, and a very good release on the club to give myself that birdie chance. So I'm looking at how I've bounced back after that bogey, and I said to myself, this is huge. This is a massive increment on the path that I've been going. And as I said, this is the first Royal Durban Golf Club diary, but those type of moments are positive, and I hope I can take them into tournaments or take them into scenarios where I feel a little bit of pressure. So 12 holes down, I'm 2 over, and I'm going to a par 5, and I choked down on the driver because now I'm heading into that 3-club wind. There is a bunker on the left which doesn't feel reachable, but get it as close as possible. I missed the fairway, but it was sitting pretty decent, and I'm about 210, 215 to the front. 3-wood seems the right thing to do, but I hit it a little bit fat, which was unusual, and I've now given myself an 85, 84 meter shot with a sand wedge, and I bunker myself. So there's a great example of a par 5 that could be played in multiple ways, and I've now got myself in a situation where I need to up and down from a greenside bunker on the third shot. I mean, you're better off up and down greenside bunker with 2, and that was